In this lesson, we're going to cover the available options for dynamic and input text. Most of these settings are the same as those for static text. There are some differences though. First off, as soon as I convert this text block into dynamic text, the appearance changes slightly. And this is because of two things. First off, letter spacing is not available on a per character basis for dynamic text, and we also cannot use subscript or superscript. Moving along to the right, another difference we notice is that we now have an embed button. We're going to cover embedding fonts in the next lesson. So the first option we're going to look at is line type. Because the contents of a dynamic text box change, we don't always know what it's going to be displaying. This option is available for us to tell Flash how to handle amounts of text larger than the size we've drawn the text box. By default, this is set to single line. But if the text ends up being longer than our text box, the end of it will be chopped off. So, set this to multi-line for most applications. Multi-line no wrap is useful when you want line breaks to be completely controlled by the text itself. Say if you're loading text from a text file. A new line will only start when it also starts in the text file itself. Next we have render text as HTML. This simply allows us to use HTML tags in the file we're getting the text from. Font tags such as bold, italic, color, etc. can be displayed in the Flash movie if this is selected. And we also have a Show Border Around Text button. This will add a background box behind your text, and this can help make text more readable depending on what's sitting behind it on your stage. And finally, the last difference here is the variable box. This is how we tell Flash where to get the text from. Drop the name of a variable in here, and this box will display whatever the value of that variable is at runtime. Now we're going to look a bit closer into variables later on when we study ActionScript. So for now, let's move on to input text. Most of this is exactly the same as dynamic text, with the exceptions of the maximum characters setting and how the variable box works. Max characters simply limits the amount of text the viewer can drop into the box. The variable works in reverse from dynamic text. Instead of displaying the contents of the specified variable, this time the text that the viewer puts in is written to the variable. We can then use that variable, take the data out of it, and use that data for whatever we like. Flash has captured it for later use. And that's it for dynamic and input text options. Let's move on to the next lesson.